Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Purpose Show podcast. We are talking about glow ups lately, and today we're going to get into a topic that I know that so many of us need to hear, and that is building confidence. Confidence is going to give you a glow from within. It's going to shift the way people perceive you. It's going to shift the way you feel. It's going to shift the way you perceive yourself, and that self concept is kind of the foundation of everything. So we're not just going to talk about this at a surface level or like surface level fixes when it comes to confidence. We're getting into the neuroscience of confidence and how you can literally rewire your brain to boost your self-esteem and see yourself differently for real, not just faking it till you make it. And we're also going to get into why this process is so absolutely key to stepping into the highest version of yourself. Confidence is not going to be something that just like magically shows up one day. It's something that you cultivate bit by bit through intention and action. And you do have that power. You have the power to completely transform your self-esteem by reprogramming your brain. So let's do it. So let's start with the foundation of confidence, and that is your self-talk. The way you think of yourself, the way your like inner monologue is going, the way you speak to yourself directly impacts your self-esteem. And like, think about it. If you're constantly telling yourself that you are not good enough, or you fucked something up, or you embarrassed yourself, or you're not, pretty, or whatever it is that you'll fail, your brain believes that. So the more that you repeat these thoughts, even if they're not like super conscious, so it's just kind of running on autopilot because you've spoken to yourself internally a certain way for so long, the more you repeat that, the deeper those beliefs are wired into your brain. And neuroscience shows that our thoughts create those neural pathways in the brain. And those neural pathways are like highways in your brain. The more you think a thought, the stronger that highway becomes. If you're stuck in negative self-talk, then that pathway becomes your default. That's just the highway that your thoughts automatically drive down every single day, all day. But the good news is, again, you can rewire those. So when you start practicing positive self-talk, you're essentially building a new neural highway in your brain. And this is why positive self-talk is one of the 5 steps in my daily reprogramming ritual, because you need to be shifting the way you are speaking to yourself. And when you externally speak positively over yourself, about yourself, to yourself, or listen to, affirmations. That's why I record these positive self-talk sort of like rampages, I call them, where it's just like me like spewing out positive things over you. If you're listening to that, it's becoming that inner dialogue. So you're building those new neural pathways that are positive, and you're literally reprogramming the way your brain thinks of you, the way you see yourself, your self-concept. And so every time that you catch a negative thought and you replace it with a positive one, you're literally creating a new, healthier pathway in your brain. And again, over time, that's going to become your default mode of thinking. So you can like override whatever's been programmed in from the past, from, the voice that you have going on inside yourself, the voice that you heard, when you were growing up, the things you picked up about yourself, whatever, along the way of your journey of life. And studies on neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to change and adapt, show that when you're engaged in positive self-talk and affirmations, your brain actually strengthens the connections associated with positive thinking. So this means that you're not just faking it till you make it. You are literally rewiring your brain to default to confidence and belief in yourself. So the first action step for this episode is start noticing your thoughts, start noticing your inner talk. Catch those negative ones and consciously replace them with an affirmation. And this is not bullshit. This is not just fluff. This is literally the scientific method for building real, lasting confidence. Because again, I hate when people say fake it till you make it, or just pretend and then eventually it'll shift. And no, it won't. You have to really believe it, and you need to get in there and get at the root of this. So start with simple but powerful affirmations like, I am worthy of being treated well. I love myself. I accept myself. Or you can say, I'm learning to love myself if I love myself doesn't resonate yet. I'm worthy of success. I trust myself to make the right decisions for me. I am capable of reaching my goals. I am capable of creating a new version of myself. And I actively am because I deserve that. Like, just start speaking truth and life over yourself. Every time you say these positive statements, imagine that you're strengthening those new neural pathways in your brain, creating a mental environment where confidence is the default and confidence can grow and thrive. That visual as you're speaking these things out is going to be incredibly powerful. Another key piece of creating confidence is momentum. So, setting goals that are actually achievable and then following through on them. This is a really powerful way to build confidence because every small win reinforces the belief that you can accomplish things. You're a winner and winners win. You're literally teaching your brain that you are capable. And so when we set these like really small goals, there's even like science that shows that if you say to yourself, like even out loud, I am going to go take a shower and then I'm going to put my contacts in and then I'm going to get a glass of water. And then you go and you take a shower, you put your contacts in and you go get a glass of water. You just reached like 3 micro goals, and that solidifies in your brain that when you say you're going to do something, you do it, and that builds confidence. Every time you achieve a goal, no matter how small it is, your brain releases dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. So this dopamine hit not only makes you feel really good, but it is also reinforcing the behavior, which makes you want to continue setting and achieving goals. And that's going to translate into the bigger ones. So I'll do this a lot with myself, especially like with ADHD. It just feels really good for me to say, like, I'm going to record a podcast episode and then sit down and record the episode and really um fire that dopamine release and train myself that like I do what I say I'm going to do. So that when I say I'm going to make $50,000 this month, then I'm going to. I believe I will because I believe that when I say I'm going to go get in the shower, I get in the shower. So intentionally saying these little things like, I'm going to go pick up the kids from school. And then you go, like saying it with things that you know you're going to do because you're literally about to do it. And then you grab your keys and you go get the kids from school. It is building up that self-belief and it is releasing that dopamine, but you can't just like think, oh, it's time to get the kids from school. I'm going to go. You have to say it to yourself. I'm going to go get the kids from school and then go get the keys and go get the kids. And you release that little hit of dopamine. This is actually like one of my favorite life hacks for feeling happy and increasing dopamine and like overcoming like depressive lulls for me. Um, is there's so much like sunshine is a huge one. And then I feel like there's another episode coming out of me right now, but doing this and saying these small goals, I'm going to go call my mom. And then I go and I call my mom. So when I'm going to do something, I say it out loud and then I do it and it releases those little bits of dopamine. But it is so important to start with these really small things. And then you can go to smaller goals. Like, okay, today I'm going to get the 3 things on this list done. And then you do it and you release a little more dopamine. Those small attainable goals count as wins and it builds that momentum. And so how does this play into reprogramming? When you start setting small goals and you're achieving them, you're reprogramming your brain to recognize success and view yourself as successful, as a winner. You're showing yourself that you're capable of achieving what you set out to do, which is strengthening those neural pathways, again, connected to confidence, because confidence comes from belief in yourself. So if you're proving these little things to yourself all the time, it is strengthening that self-belief and shifting your self-concept to being more positive and being more confident. So think about a time when you have set and reached a small goal. Maybe it was like sticking to a new habit for a week or losing weight or finishing a project or even something as simple as like cleaning your room finally. When it's just been like really messy and feeling really shitty and then you finally get it all cleaned up. That sense of accomplishment you feel after is your brain wiring in success and confidence and releasing dopamine. It feels really good. So a practical tip for this segment is I want you to start by setting one small goal today. Make it something realistic, but that's going to feel good. Maybe it's going to be like, I'm going to read for 10 minutes before I turn the TV on tonight. I'm going to organize the junk drawer. Maybe you reach out to someone you've been meaning to connect with, but keep putting it off. Every time you complete a task, take a moment to acknowledge, like, I did it. That small win is a deposit into your confidence bank, and I want you to see it that way. And this brings us to the third point, celebrating small wins. Most of us are really good at brushing off our achievements, even the really small ones. I am so guilty of this. Like, this section just poured out of me because it was like I'm preaching to myself and I needed to soak that up like a sponge, because I will reach like really big goals and not celebrate it. I just move on to the next thing. And we downplay our wins, or we think they're not big enough to celebrate, or we feel weird celebrating ourselves, but that's not serving you at all. Every single accomplishment, no matter how small it is, deserves to be recognized. And again, it's going to be reprogramming your brain and releasing that dopamine hit. Celebrating matters because when you celebrate your wins, it helps anchor the feelings of success in your brain. So this isn't just about like patting yourself on the back and being like, this fake praise, like good job, like you're a fucking golden retriever. It's literally neuroscience. When you celebrate a win, you signal to your brain that what you just did was valuable, that you are valuable. The more you acknowledge your progress in life, the more your brain associates those actions with positive outcomes, the more likely you are to repeat that cycle. So you can literally make yourself successful by celebrating tiny successes like, oh, I drank matcha instead of coffee every day this week. Yay, I'm going to celebrate that. Little things like that. When you consistently celebrate your achievements, your brain associates action with reward, and that strengthens those neural pathways connected to productivity, confidence, and self-worth. So, when was the last time that you really celebrated yourself? Even if it was over something small, like following through on your morning routine or finishing a project. And it doesn't even need to be every day. Like, when you do your morning routine one time, take a moment to recognize yourself and to realize that that is an accomplishment. Life is busy. You have a lot going on and you did something good for yourself. We need to change this pattern of just expecting ourselves to perform and be perfect and do so much and then not acknowledging when we do something good. There's research by psychologist Charles Duhigg, and he studies and talks a lot about habit formation. And his research shows that a key component of building lasting habits, and confidence is a habit, okay, is rewarding yourself after completing a task. This reward does not have to be huge. It can just be like taking a deep breath, acknowledging yourself internally, enjoying a cup of coffee, or even just saying good job to yourself, literally out loud. Feels a little psychotic, but it's fine. The key is that acknowledgement. It helps solidify that behavior. So your action tip here is create a system where you celebrate even the smallest wins. You can do something really simple, like give yourself 5 minutes of downtime after you complete a task that was on your list, or keep a journal out on the counter or on your desk and jot down every single thing you achieve, no matter how small it is. This is why, by the way, so many of us, when we have a to-do list and we do something that wasn't on the list, some of us will go and write the task on the list and then cross it off, because you naturally seek that dopamine hit. You want to see yourself as an achiever. And so we literally seek that out and want to do those things. But practicing this builds that confidence because it shows your brain that you are doing things, you're making progress. Okay. So we've talked a lot about setting goals, positive self-talk, celebrating your wins, but the real magic is going to come into play when you combine these practices that I'm talking about with an understanding of neural reprogramming. Your brain is constantly changing, and this is where transformation happens. Neuroplasticity, remember, the ability for your brain to rewire itself based on your thoughts, behaviors, and actions. Every time you practice positive self-talk, every time you achieve a small goal, every time you acknowledge a win, You are using neuroplasticity to rewire your brain for confidence. So in my coaching and in my methods in the collective, we focus really heavily on reprogramming the subconscious mind. Confidence is not something you force. It is something you train yourself to feel. And it's something that you believe about yourself for real. And that's where it comes from. So by consistently feeding your mind affirmations, celebrating your progress, and setting these small achievable goals, you are literally reprogramming the subconscious beliefs that used to tell you you're not good enough, you suck at this, you need to do more, you need to be more organized, God, you're a mess. Okay. And this process takes time. But the more you are self-aware of it, the more you practice, the more those neural pathways connected to self-doubt start to weaken, and the new pathways connected to confidence grow stronger. So this is a practice. It's not a one-time fix. It truly is a practice. It's something you build step by step, thought by thought. And the beauty of this is that you have control over this process. You have full control. So by intentionally reprogramming your brain through these things, positive self-talk, setting small goals, celebrating your wins, acknowledging yourself, you are literally transforming how you see yourself and how you show up in the world, which is going to attract new opportunities, new people to you that are in alignment with that higher vibe self-concept. So your homework is today, I want you to catch those negative thoughts and replace them with an affirmation. I want you to set one small goal and celebrate when you achieve it. You're going to start rewiring your brain for confidence because you're worthy of that transformation. You're worthy of feeling that way about yourself and believing that about yourself. We need to support each other on this journey. This is a shift. This is very counterculture. This is very counter everything we've talked to ourselves about in our brains for God only knows how many years. But we do have the power to create the version of ourselves that is what we desire. So send me a DM on Instagram. Let me cheer you on. Let me know what resonates for you. Let me know what aha moments came through this episode. I want to hear from you. Tell me what else you need support in when it comes to this stuff. Thank you so much for tuning into The Purpose Show. I love you so much. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with a friend who could use a confidence boost. And remember that confidence is something you create. It's not something you fake. So I love you guys. I'll see you next time.